What's goody? Hey man, another night of the playoffs down. As I'm recording this, there's like 3 minutes left in the Warriors game. Them boys are down by 20. I turned the game off like right after halftime. Sometime in the third quarter, I turned the game off. Um, so the night's not technically over, but dog, like it wasn't the best night of hoops. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was definitely the worst night of hoops in the playoffs so far. So let's just go ahead and start with Magic and Celtics. This will probably be the shortest video of any of them so far for the playoffs, just because, like I said, it wasn't the best night of hoops. Magic and Celtics. JB was frying, especially early. He was easily Boston's best player tonight. The something that we all know already, but something that was very, very obvious tonight. The Magic desperately needs 3-point shooting, and that the Magic offense is so bad. Franz was hooping early. He had a pretty mid second half, but he ended up having a pretty decent game. Paolo Banchero ended up having a pretty good game. He was killing it in the fourth. Um, Let me go back up to my notes. Porzingis played terribly to start. I was actually super worried about him because he had a super bad game one, but I gave him a little bit of a pass for it because they won and because both of the Jays had a bad game one, so it was just like not any of really the Celtics' best game in game one other than Derek White. But he started off really bad in the first quarter of this game, so I was really worried. But then he ended up getting better as the game went on. It wasn't like his most efficient night or anything like that, but he was scoring. He did some pretty good things. It was a pretty decent night for him. Derek White had a good second half after not doing a whole lot in the first half. It was really needed for the Celtics, who had a bad night as a team offensively and everything like that. So it was good to see Derek White get going in that second half when a lot of the offense was just Jaylen Brown. Like outside of Jaylen Brown for much of the night, the offense was terrible. Early on, the offense was really bad, but they had some offensive rebounds that were just absolutely killing the Magic and not allowing the Magic to really get a type of lead they wanted to get. It was a pretty close game for like most of it, just because the Boston's offense was playing so terribly, and they were without Jason Tatum, so like I expected the offense to be a little bit worse. But it was really bad tonight. I mean, credit to the Magic defensively and everything like that. A lot of that was because of the things the Magic were doing defensively, but it wasn't the best game to watch. Somebody for Orlando that I really want to that I haven't talked a ton about this season, but a guy that I was expecting to do a lot more things for Orlando that he ended up doing. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, man, he had a terrible game tonight. I don't even know if he ever even scored. But he had a terrible game tonight. He's just been disappointing all season, and every time I watch him, I think it's time for you to retire, because I'm a guy that was a huge fan of the KCP addition in the offseason. I thought it was going to do a lot of things for this team. And he's just been terrible all season. I'm talking about he couldn't hit a three tonight, couldn't hit a shot, period. He was getting into like little altercations. He did almost nothing that was good for the Orlando Magic tonight, and that's just kind of been how his season's been. But it wasn't just him. They simply just need better role players. I mean, really outside of Franz, Wendell Carter, and Paolo, they really didn't have much offensively. The Magic didn't really have much offensively tonight. And the Wendell Carter, it was like in spurts. Like, it wasn't like Wendell Carter went out there and dropped 20, 25 points. And Wendell Carter just had like a decent game. But his game just looked a lot better because everybody else on the team, aside from the two stars, was ass. Boston is something I really noticed that I wasn't paying a ton of attention to in game one, and I don't know if they did it at all in game one. But early on, Boston played some decent amount, like a few minutes in a 1-3-1 zone, and it was like pretty efficient. I mean, it wasn't like it was a ton of possessions or anything like that I noticed at least, but it was something that I noticed. I think it was in like the first or second quarter. For a lot of the game, they were in man, especially like in the fourth quarter and stuff. Boston went back to man, but that 1-3-1 is something that I really just wanted to point out. It was really interesting, and I do want to like keep an eye on that to see if the Celtics continue to do that, not just in this series, but also like throughout maybe like the rest of the playoffs as well. But other than that, that series is over. I don't think any of us expected the Magic to do too much. Even with Jason Tatum out, they lost this game by a good amount. So it's just like the series is over. Shout out to the Magic. You got a whole lot of things you need to do in the offseason. Heat at Cavs. Didn't watch a second of this game. I was watching the Magic game, the Boston Orlando game, which is why I didn't watch this game. But I saw in the top right corner like of the Boston game, like in the second quarter, I saw that the Heat were up like 10 to 12 points, something around there. And then I was like, damn, I'm going to keep an eye on that to see if that's a real thing. And then the first quarter ended and the Cavs were up. And then the Cavs ended up having the best three-point shooting quarter in like playoff history. I don't remember if it was like all playoff history or their franchise history, but they ended up having a phenomenal second quarter. They ended up having a phenomenal shooting night, period. That series is over. Yeah, Andrew Wiggins had a terrible game. The series is over. I don't really care to watch that series at all. I didn't really care to watch it, period. So on to the game that is the one that, I mean, I watched the Celtics game the entire way, and I watched less of the Warriors game than this, but this is the game that I was really excited for tonight. First and foremost, I hope Jimmy Butler's okay, and I hope Brandon Podziemski's okay. They both got hurt. They both, Jimmy Butler left in like the first quarter. I think Brandon Podziemski left like maybe later in the first or early in the second quarter. Hope both of them are okay. Jimmy Butler's injury looked a little scary, especially with the way that he fell. With Pods, I'm not so sure about what the injury exactly is or like how bad it really is. So I just hope to see both of those guys back healthy when they go to Golden State, which is probably Saturday or Sunday, probably Sunday. I hope both of those guys are healthy for the next game and everything like that. And for the second quarter, since Jimmy was hurt and Steph Curry, you know how they rest him during those minutes, and it's usually Jimmy in. Well, for a period in the second quarter, it was no Curry, no Jimmy, and not even Draymond was in. That lineup, terrible. I'm talking about Steve Kerr put Steph Curry in after like 3-4 possessions with that lineup in because they couldn't score a damn thing. It was terrible. Steve Kerr had seen enough. He said, okay, let's go ahead and get Steph Curry back in. They literally had Pat Spencer in the game, and he shockingly was actually hooping in the 9 minutes that he played, or it was 9 minutes when I started recording this video. I don't know if they were being blown out, so maybe it ended up being more than that, and he got more PT. But in the 9 minutes in the first half of this game that he was in, the man was hooping. So props to him. Whole Warriors bench for the most part was terrible. Tari Eason was the Rockets' best player in the first quarter, but Jalen Green ended up having a really good game. Gui Santos, and like I think it was like the second quarter, he had a couple of just like dumbfounding possessions where all I could think was, what the actual hell are you doing? And one thing I really want to talk about, and this is something that I think a lot of people have been talking about recently, but especially just like over Steph Curry's career, can the man get one foul call? I'm watching them pull him down on 3-point shots, pull him down while he's dribbling the ball, and the refs are doing absolutely nothing about it, and they're just going, jump ball. Like, no, bro, call the fucking foul. This is one of the top 5 players to ever touch a basketball. This is the best point guard to ever touch a basketball, and you're telling me he can't get one fucking foul call? Give him the foul call, because there were times where the Warriors were going on runs, and Steph Curry didn't have a bad game. I mean, he didn't put up a 30-point game like he did in game 1, but he didn't have a bad game or an inefficient game or anything like that. It's just the man's getting quadruple teamed and fouled every single play, whether he touches the ball or not. Call a foul is all I'm asking for. Because if you're going to give Alperen fucking Şengün these calls, Steph Curry can get 1 or 2. Not that fucking difficult, NBA. Like, damn. It pisses me off so much to watch guys to watch guys like Embiid or Shea or Brunson or Jokic or whoever, and Jokic's whistle actually isn't very good, but whoever get a good whistle, and we have got Stephen Curry, the man, he and LeBron have been carrying the NBA's viewership and popularity for the last decade, and the man can't get a foul call. Like, he's a 6'3" point guard. You're acting like, at least on LeBron, people used to be able to say, hey, he's 6'9", he can fight through it. This is a 6'3" point guard. Give him a call or two, please. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not even asking for, I'm not asking for a lot. I am just asking, when the man is getting literally mugged, some shit that if that shit happened on the street, it's assault. It is a police charge, and we're just letting these random Rockets players, I don't give a fuck if it's Tari Eason, Fred Van Vliet, Amin Thompson, Jalen Green, Dylan fucking Brooks' sorry ass, they're just letting them pull this man down and throw him around and everything like that. And it's like, Steph Curry's a better man than me, because I would damn near be punching a ref every single game, bro. Anyway, none of my notes for this game really mattered too much. The game was over as soon as Jimmy went out. You could tell that like the Warriors were already down a little bit when Jimmy went out, and then it was just very obvious that after that the Warriors were not going to win that game. The offense looked really bad. Steph Curry had no help out there at all. Brandon Podziemski was gone, so it's like you're already missing a lot. Quentin Post didn't end up having a bad game, but there were some shots that you want him to make that he was missing. But he's a rookie. He didn't end up having a bad game at all. That's pretty much it, I think, for today. It was a pretty underwhelming day of hoops, but, I'm excited for tomorrow. And I think a lot of people expected the Warriors to lose this game, and I was kind of one of them. I was like, they don't really need to go super hard for this game. Like, if they can go up 2-0 and completely sweep them on the road, that's phenomenal, but they don't need to. And then when Jimmy Butler went out, it's like one of those things where I don't know how bad the injury is, but whether it was minor or not, I didn't once he went to the locker room, I didn't expect him to come back because it's like, even if it's a minor injury, why risk playing him? You're already down. You won game one. You don't need to do anything else. Give the man a few days of rest before going back to Golden State, where you can go back to Golden State and hopefully go up 3-1 by the time you're coming back to Houston. There was no point. All right. So yeah, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for watching. Had to go on a little rant there because I just hate watching this stuff where it's like Steph Curry can't get one single foul call. The man could literally get punched in the face and the refs will be looking at him like this. It's just, I didn't see it. I didn't see it. Shut the fuck up. Yes, you did. Anyways, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for watching, bro. All glory to God as always. And excited for tomorrow's Night of Hoops. Hopefully it's a better one than tonight. But we've been pretty spoiled this playoff, so I'm not mad about tonight's Night of Hoops not being the best. All right? Okay.